So today I have 3 pairs of jeans that I'm going to show you how to deepen the pockets. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, I haven't researched it, but for whatever reason, women's blue jean pockets are super shallow. You cannot put your phone in there for anything, and they're super, I mean, teeny weeny. You could do it like that, but you know, that's not going to be comfortable by any means. And so what I'm going to show you how to do is how to take these inside pockets here that are on the front and make them deeper so you can at least put your phone in. So I want my pockets to be as long enough to have my phone go in most of the way, if not all the way. So I don't know, I haven't decided if I want to keep it up a little bit over the edge or have it go all the way in. Now I've already done it on this pair of pants over here. These pair of pants originally had pockets as shallow as this one right here, but I went ahead and deepened the pocket, so now I can get my phone most of the way in, just like this. And so now I have more room for not just my phone, but my phone, a little pocket pouch, maybe with my driver's license and a credit card, maybe some change, but I did it for both pockets here on this side. So what I'm going to do is to put my phone away, so let me show you how I did this. Let's take a look at a pair of jeans real quick to see what they have on the outside before you start picking things apart on the inside. So if you notice right here, most blue jeans, I'm pretty positive all blue jeans have a rivet right here and right here at the top and the bottom, or the top and the side of your blue jeans. Now you can see the rivet on the inside, and that's where you know that that's as far as you can go when you start picking things out from the inside. And also here, it doesn't go all the way down the side, but right here from like the bottom of your pocket and up the side, there's an extra stitch that strengthens that seam right there for the stress of putting and pulling on your pocket. So anytime you put something on the inside, there you have stress here. So there's an extra seam here that you need to pick out so that you can make the alteration on the inside. So if we turn our pants inside out, so knowing we have a seam right here and our rivet right here, we're going to flip our pants inside out. As you can see here, I've already picked this seam allowance out, and I've picked a seam allowance out here on the side. This particular pocket has a fold right here, so I didn't have to pick anything out here. But what we want to do is to figure out how much extra length we need to add to our pocket to be able to make it deep enough to hold my phone. So remember, this rivet right here is the top of our pocket that goes along the outside, and you can feel it as well. So I don't want my phone poking out too much, but maybe just a little bit. So I'm going to take my ruler and going from the side seam right here, this side seam right here, not necessarily the pocket, the side seam, I'm going to measure across, moving my phone out of the way, measure across the bottom here. So this is 7.5 inches here. So let's write that down. So 7.5 inches width, and then putting my phone back, I'm going to have it pop over the edge just a teeny weeniest bit, and I'm going to measure from that fold line, which is the original stitch line, down. So this 1/2 inch includes a seam allowance, and this is going to be 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches depth. So I'm going to take these measurements, and I'm going to cut out a piece of fabric that's 3.5 inches down and 15 inches across. So right here in the middle, that's going to be our fold line. So that would be our 7.5 mark. That's our middle mark right there. So we want to do 7.5 plus 7.5, which gives us 15. So our strip of fabric to lengthen this pocket is going to be 15 by 3.5. So now that we have our measurements, we're going to cut out our fabric. This would be a great scrap buster for anybody who has the fabric. I just made some shorts for my daughters, and so I have this leftover cotton quilting fabric, and I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of fabric that's 15 by 3.5. So let's see if I have enough here on this piece. so here are my extensions. 15 by 3.5. Now, real quick, I just want to talk about this fabric. This is just a regular cotton quilting fabric. I was making some sleep shorts for my kids. I had a big old piece of scrap left over, and so that's what I'm using since we're working on this pocket. Now we're going to take that strip, and remember, you need 2 of them because normally you would do this to 2 pockets. I mean, if you want to do 1 pocket, you can do 1 pocket, but I'm doing both of mine. And so you're going to take this and you're going to tuck it to the inside. Now, whether you want the print to show or not, I mean, remember, this is a pocket, nobody's going to see anything. But I'm going to take this, and I'm going to pin it to the top. So I want my strip of fabric to be on the inside of the pocket. Okay, so right here, you see there's a little extra give in here. So the pocket is a little wider than what I measured, but that's okay. I don't have to change anything. I just need to make sure that the pocket will still sew. So there might be wrinkles right here. So when I sew, there are going to be wrinkles right here in my seam where this extra fabric, if it's not eased in to flatten out, it'll just wrinkle right here, and that's okay. Alright, so I've got that one pinned. I'm going to do the other one, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew right around here. One seam, 1 stitch line, starting from this side right here and working around. Okay, now that you have that stitched all the way around this edge right here, I did a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to go to my serger and I'm going to serge this edge. If you don't have a serger, go to your sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch over the edge, so that way it will prevent fraying of the fabric. So I'm going to go serge this edge and that edge, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so now we've pulled our pocket out, and I've serged, or I've zigzagged the edges here so they won't fray whenever you wash the pockets. And now we're going to match up our bottom corners here. And we're going to sew across the bottom just like we did the middle. So you're going to sew a line 1/4 inch here, and then you're going to zigzag or serge the edges here, and we do that on both pockets. Okay, now we're at the halfway point. We have our seam done here, and we sewed up the bottom. Now on this particular pocket, that is the selvage edge, so it's not going to unravel, and I just left it alone, selvage edge. For this particular pocket, because this was a raw cut edge, I didn't serge it, but I used my sewing machine and there's a mock serge on it that looks kind of like pyramids without the tops, without the pointy tops. So I used that, and that's how this edge is going to keep from fraying. So now we have a hole right here where we picked our seams out here on the side seam of our pant. And we have a hole right here in our pocket that we need to complete as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the edge of my pocket with the edge of the pant or the jeans, and I'm going to pin that in place. And so right here, there's no hole here. We didn't pick out a seam here, but I'm still going to serge the edge of the pocket to the edge of the jean down here. And once again, when I say serge, I'm using my serger, but you can use your zigzag stitch or your mock overlock stitch on your sewing machine. So when I sew, I'm going to go here on this side. I'm going to follow the stitch line that was there originally and sew the hole in my side seam of my blue jeans shut. And then I'm going to go back and starting just above where I picked it out, I'm going to serge the edge all the way down to the bottom of my pocket. And then that will be it. And then you'll have a complete pocket. And I'm going to do that for this side and for this side. Okay, here we go. So our side seams have been sewn. I tried to keep it on the original stitch line as much as I possibly could, and then I serged over the edges. So now officially our pockets are done. So we can flip everything inside out if you want, or, and this is what I'm going to do, that extra stitching that was right here that got picked out, I'm going to go back on my sewing machine and I'm going to re-stitch that down just so that whatever purpose that was there for, and I'm assuming it was for adding strength to your pockets so that, you know, with the strenuous use of pockets right there, I'm going to go back and I'm going to stitch that down so that it looks decent again. I'm going to pick out all my little doodads. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I'm just going to go back and do that. I just have regular old white thread that I'm going to do that on, and that way my pockets will officially be complete at that point. So now let's see. Ooh, it's so much deeper. So now I'm going to stick my phone in there and it goes. Wow, my whole phone fit in there. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, so it wasn't as far down as I wanted it to go. But it's certainly down far enough that if I'm walking around or if I need to do something, it's not going to pop out and disappear. And I have plenty of room in there for car keys, my driver's license, cash, receipts, junk that my kids put in my pockets, lollipop wrappers, candy wrappers. That's what they're usually for. So anyways, so there we go. And we have our completed pockets. For this particular pocket right here, I'm going to leave this stitching right here and I'm going to start picking out from this point all the way down, and then I'm going to pick out the side seam about 2 inches up here. So from right here all the way down, I'm going to pick all this out, and then I'm going to pick out to like right here. So I'm going to seam rip, or use my seam ripper, use my pick, use my scissors, whatever it is. Where did my seam ripper go? Oh, here it is. So here's my seam ripper. I'm going to use this and I'm going to pick out all the stitches from this point around to that point.